She is an engineer, but people have found out that she's actually just a computer engineer.
Ooh.
And she's teaching herself as she goes. Hello, you're listening or watching the More Than Roommates podcast. I'm Dan.
And I'm Graham.
And today I wanted to get on my TikTok conspiracy. Have you heard of the Tunnel Girl?
Yes, just from us
Watching
kind
it.
of scrolling through, at nighttime. The old TikTok scroll.
Yes, so if you guys don't know, she's gaining a lot of popularity on TikTok and also a lot of controversy. So she is this woman who is digging a tunnel under her house. And it's just like she's using it as just a way to explore her creative tunneling desires. And people are, saying, like, is that legal? What do the neighbors think? So
Yeah.
I did a little bit of a deep dive on her. I pulled out my journalistic skills to see what I could find about her. So she has started doing some interviews. I saw
Who is she?
She did some interviews with Fox News and NBC, I think. So she just goes by Kayla. She has not given out her last name for anonymity. I can't even say that. But her TikTok is engineer everything.
Okay, so she's an engineer, maybe.
So here's part of it.
Okay.
So her name is Kayla. She started digging a tunnel system under her home in October of 2022.
Oh, it's been that long.
Yes.
Whoa, okay.
She has 545,000 followers. So Kayla lives in Virginia, and she posted she received a stop order and she needed an immediate evaluation by a professional engineer. The town of Herndon received notice that activity and potential violation of the Uniform Statewide Code occurring on a residential property. So she is an engineer, but people have found out that she's actually just a computer engineer.
Ooh.
And she's teaching herself as she goes.
A little caveat there, I guess.
Yes. And so she did an interview, and she said she wouldn't say it's a doomsday bunker. She's not a prepper concerned about the end of the world, but it would just be nice to have a neat little protective shelter. So we can put some video here, but she's just kind of building like a spiral tunnel underneath her house. And she's at the point where she's dug pretty far down.
I remember watching, some of the videos. She had like heavy machinery in there, like hauling. I saw her chucking stones, like heavy stones, just chipping away.
And she's trying to reinforce it. And, people have been digging mines for a long time. So there's probably a lot of technology for it.
Right.
But it's just like, is that legal? Like, can you do that? Or is it even safe? Like, are you building a giant sinkhole underneath your home?
Right.
So, like, as a homeowner, Graham, what is your take on this?
I mean, on one hand, I feel like since I own this property, I feel like technically, like, would I not like own clear down to the earth core,
Yeah.
Like to an extent, but that is where the extent kind of ends for me because we've got neighbors, around us.
Right.
And like we had to call, like, even with just like doing little like piddly projects in the backyard. Like, we had to call 811 dig, you know what I mean? So they could mark, like, gas lines and sewer lines. And I'm not saying that she didn't go through any of that. Well, I guess I don't know. Did any of that information come out?
So
like, did she get any kind of permit or, like, she just...
So, in regards to the legality of her project, Kayla declined to get into specific detail about any permits she may have obtained. She said she is following the rules for building emergency shelters in her local jurisdiction. She says she's probably spent about $50,000 and projects that she's got $60,000 more to go. So
and
I looked
what value would that be adding to the place either,
I know. So I did do some research and I looked up what do you own as far as when you buy property. So Zillow says Generally speaking, it's likely that you own the property underneath and around your house. Most property ownership law is based on the Latin doctrine, for whoever owns the soil, it's theirs up to heaven and down to hell.
Okay.
Now,
Well,
there is a limit above.
Yeah.
Above, I think you have 500 feet of airspace, and
Makes-
then it is
yeah.
like you're getting into planes and stuff.
and if you go too far the other way, like you're gonna be in like I don't know
Yes.
another foreign
So-
country. So obviously, like
Zill-
that's why I said like the Earth core. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Well, Zillow also says that there could be some disclosures in your contract when you purchase the home because there could be some wiring from another
Zoning
company.
or
So they
whatever,
said
yeah.
make sure you get all of that in your disclosure statement, and you have to of course it varies from state to state, jurisdiction to jurisdiction, but so far she could be in her legal rights to dig as much as she wants.
Interesting.
My personal take is I'm very big about it is your property. We don't have much free will in this
Right.
world.
As
However,
it is, yeah.
there is some moral obligation to also serve society. And as we said, you do have neighbors. So yes, while you have the capability to do that, if you end up costing your neighbors money by their property value going down, putting them at risk for having a sinkhole that
Yeah.
could open up and widen.
Right. I'd like
a
to
little
know how
sketchy.
close, her property is. I'm assuming it sounds like what I'm picturing in my head is like she's in a subdivision.
It-
We are. Apparently there's probably no HOA. But
exactly. It sounds like
Yeah.
she lives in a pretty
Like a
close
neighborhood.
neighborhood. It's not like she's out in the country. And this goes into my thought of too is if you want to dig a tunnel and you want to do this, why don't you move out in the country where
Yeah.
that won't be as much of an issue? Don't live in suburbia
yeah.
and do all
exactly.
that.
Right.
And we have some neighbors that are
Have a chicken farm.
yeah, and it's just like a normal
It's like,
backyard.
We're in city limits, man.
I know. And there's a debate. I wanted to get people's opinions on that one too. Is there is a chicken farm next door to us, and we let them. Again, it's their property. Do what you want, but they have a lot of chickens, and it's killed all the grass, and we're getting to the point of wanting to put up a fence, like a privacy
Right.
fence to hide it, and it's who's responsible for that? It's
Yeah.
I know it's our want for the privacy, but it's we also didn't expect to have a chicken coop or a chicken farm next
Right.
door. So I don't know,
Yeah.
because it could affect our property value.
They very well could.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't pick your neighbor. I'm sure the people in the Tunnel Girls neighborhood probably feel some type of way about all that too.
Yes. And so they did interview, one of the local news stations interviewed a neighbor. I want to get to that. Kayla said, I wouldn't say that I'm concerned about safety or structural stability. For the most part, 99.9% everything has gone according to plan, and everything according to
but-
my engineering. There are very few minor mishaps.
So you said she was in a computer science engineering background. That's her background.
Computer programmer or computer engineer. So the neighbor said, if I
guess
remember,
she could probably understand some foundations.
and again, we're in the age where you can learn anything online, but it's
True.
still just odd.
she's on Chat GPT. How
Yeah,
do
how
I
do I
dig
tell-
a tunnel under my house?
So she wrote, if I remember, or the neighbor said, if I remember correctly, maybe last summer, I just started hearing not rock blasts, but just loud noises, and some dude was digging dirt out, he said.
Yeah.
So
it
yeah,
would be
she's-
concerning. I'd be like, are you trying to make a tunnel under my house? Are
Yeah.
you trying to make a secret entrance?
right? Do you
Am I
think
gonna have people living behind my walls or sneaking, into my home at night?
we'll show you videos, but she has developed a minecart system to
Yeah.
haul the rock away. But if I were a neighbor, I would ask to see if I could see it, to see if they're digging underneath my
Yeah.
house or how much I trust it. But
Yeah,
gosh.
I'd be curious to know what her property looks like and where that tunnel is in relation to a neighbor's property. Would be quite interesting to see that.
yeah. So would you want to live next to Tunnel Girl?
No, I think like even that last comment that a neighbor made, it would be frustrating.
Yeah.
You know, like you wouldn't know what's going on, and then
Yeah.
you look out and you don't see any like construction company, you know, or
Yeah,
engineering firm. I don't know. I feel like
I definitely think she needs to make sure she has all the permits, and everyone needs to be aware of it.
yeah.
And again, but it comes back to, I think you should just not live in a suburbia
Right.
place if you're going to dig all that way down.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head again. You just move out to the country, you know.
Yeah, if you want to live
Get
that
some
style.
land, get some property, you know. If you want to explore that, go for it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like your buddy, like their farm. Like
Yeah.
that would be a really cool property to do stuff like that,
Exactly.
you know.
For sure.
Or you own, you know, acres and miles or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, with a little lot like that, I don't know. It
Yeah.
just, you're already, I mean, I remember when I first moved in here, like my first week mowing, so the house that is now a chicken farm, before that individual moved in, the guy that lived there before used to like get mad. He'd be like, well, don't get your mower up on my fence or whatever. And then it's like, okay, well, where's the property line? Like, how do
Yeah.
you know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it just
Seems like a mess. Like,
yeah, it goes to show, have a good relationship with your neighbors, because you never know when you're going to have to ask them to see their underground tunnel, or
Yeah.
to ask them to not do it. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts. If you've heard of
Yeah,
Tunnel
sure.
Girl, do you think she should be allowed to? What if you were living next to Tunnel Girl? And please like and subscribe. We're getting close to having a year of this podcast. So
Insane,
getting
yeah.
into the cozy season. It's a nice snow day here. So
Yep.
we will, I was going to say listen to you, but we will see you next week. Bye.
All right, later.